Good morning. Namaste to each of you. Thank you for joining me this morning to honor your mind and your body and your spirit. Let's just take a moment to become present. Find a nice, comfortable seated position where you can sit on a cushion and allow the back of your spine, the back of your neck to sit nice and long and tall, opening up your chest, opening up your diaphragm, and opening up your heart. Let's gently close our eyes and soften our thoughts. Soften our eyes. Soften our shoulders. And soften our heart. Observe your breath as it is, soft and gentle, breathing life into you with each inhale and relaxation with each exhale. Feel the grace of being present, returning to that awareness again and again. You may open your eyes now. For this morning's intention, you may think of a positive word or phrase to have with you on your mat and perhaps carry with you throughout the day. This morning's intention I'd like to talk about is the fact that it's a new Ayurvedic season. Kapha season starts end of February and goes through May. So I'm going to kind of think of it starting March 1st or the end of February. And Ayurveda is the sister science to yoga, which focuses on three doshas or energy, the vata, the pitta, and the kapha. Claire Ragazzino, there we go, Claire Ragazzino, who wrote this lovely book, Living Ayurveda, says, spring is kapha season. The heavy, slow, cool qualities and wet weather of late winter and early spring, and that's what we Vermonters call mud season. Those qualities welcome a lightness into our food and breath and movement practices. And those are welcomed to balance and brighten kapha. We select food and adopt a lifestyle that will reduce the increased elements of earth and water. So think the opposite, fire and air. And again, from last week, we know that the new lunar season is fire. So we have that already balancing ourselves off. So Ayurvedic science is all about balancing. And so to stay balanced in spring, we want to emphasize food that is light and cleansing, warm and freshly cooked, such as raw greens, warm grains, legumes, pungent spices, and bitter vegetables, and astringent herbs. We'd like to have more room temperature and hot beverages, not necessarily cold things. We want to stay away from the cold aspect of things. And for example, a bitter vegetable would be something like asparagus, which also acts as a diuretic. And then in the springtime, oftentimes it's the time that detox cleanses are done. And she had Claire has a great recipe for kichari or kichari, however you pronounce it. It's something that a lot of the Ayurvedic uh, followers do in the spring, and I think in the fall as well. And it's basically a rice, lentil, um, lots and lots of turmeric, spicy, and you eat that for a period of a couple days, and that's all you eat. It's just kind of cleanses you because it's a mono food type thing, and it's nourishing, but um, it's that's all you eat. And I've done it for a period of 3 days, and um, I didn't really notice a ton of difference, but I liked participating, and I think the kitchery is quite delicious in itself. So then for breath, we want to focus on invigorating and energizing breath practices that break up stagnation in the chest. So do your regular breathing that expands the lungs, rib cage, and emphasizing longer exhales. So you're just trying to, one of the breathing technique pranayama that we've done before is lion's breath. I know it's not a favorite of a lot of people, but it's really invigorating and energizing and cleansing it. So that's one of the breathing techniques. Movement, we try to aim for steady, strengthening, vigorous, and heating practices that have longer held postures. And for meditation, meditation should be light and lively and energizing and expansive. And this morning I have a quick meditation. It's a something I found called a simple bird migration meditation practice. So if you want, you can. It's pretty quick. Want to be in our stillness. We want to sit comfortably, closing our eyes and taking a deep breath to ground ourselves in our physical body. Just take a moment to do that. And imagine a bird or watch one in nature. Notice its feathers, its movements, its quiet focus. As you inhale, feel the lightness of flight. As you exhale, feel the grounding of earth. And consider the long journey of a bird. And consider, what does it need for this journey? Then let the image of the bird fly away, bringing your attention back to your breath and the present moment. Alrighty, so we'll start our asana practice. Kapha. We're going to start with our seated sun breaths, and there's the sun, sun breaths, and chest openers. And again, we're going to try to do that longer exhale to just try to cleanse out, clean out the cobwebs of our lungs. So bringing our fingertips to our side with an inhale, bringing our hands up overhead. Palms come together, and then exhale. We'll just move more slowly. And then inhale, opening the hands as far as what's comfortable. Really opening up the chest and the heart and the lungs. And then exhale, closing back. We'll go slowly again, having a longer exhale. Then inhale up, overhead. And then on this exhale, let's just open our mouths and have a nice big sigh. We'll do that again a couple times. So inhale up. Exhale down. Slowly. Inhale, open. Expanding our chest, expanding our lungs. Exhale, close. Inhale up. And then a big sigh with your mouth open. And one last one. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale, open. And then opening our chest, opening our lungs, bringing the air in. Air and fire again is the offset to water and earth. Exhale slowly. And then inhale up. And then one big sigh. We'll bring our right hand to our left knee, bringing our left fingertips behind our hips, twisting our torso to the left side, sending our gaze straight ahead. Nice gentle twist. And then back to center, and then we'll do that on the other side. So left hand to right knee, right fingertips behind the hips, twisting to the right. Couple deep breaths. And then back to center. And then we're going to roll down on our backs. So you can roll down any way that is comfortable for you. Knees bent, knees straight, hands tucked underneath. Express method. I'm going to keep my knees bent. Slowly rolling down, connecting each vertebra with the mat. And then bringing my knees to the chest, giving them a nice hug. And just kind of rock and roll, wake up your spine. Feel it all the way from your base of your spine, to the spine around your waist, spine around your shoulders, back of your neck. Kind of wake everything up. And then we'll slide both feet down to the bottom of the mat, come into reclined mountain pose. And slide the right foot along the left leg up to the knee, creating a figure four with your legs. And then placing the right ankle on top of the left leg, just above the left knee. And then pulling the left leg up into the air. Both set of toes are flexed up to the sky. And you can wrap your hands around the back of your left leg and gently guide that left leg toward your chest, keeping the right knee pointing to the side of the mat. And take a couple deep breaths here. And then we'll bring the left leg all the way down to the mat, keeping the right foot on the left leg. And then taking the right knee, guiding it with your left hand over to the left side. Trying to keep your shoulders and your spine connected to the mat. And then we'll bring both knees again back to the chest, give them a nice hug again. Do a little bit more rocking and rolling. And sliding both feet back down to the mat, all the way down to the end. And then take your left sole of your foot and slide it along the inner part of your right leg to the point where it reaches the knee, creating a nice figure four. And then crossing that left ankle over your right leg, just above the knee. And then lifting both legs and pointing both set of toes up to the sky. We'll come into reclined pigeon. You can wrap your hands around the back of your right leg and gently ease that right leg toward your chest. Take a couple deep breaths here and breathe into that tension. Send it some nourishing breaths. And then we'll bring that right leg down to the mat, keeping the left foot on the leg. And then taking our right hand, guiding our left knee over to the right. And then bringing both knees back again to the chest, giving them a nice hug. Maybe rock a little bit again. And then we'll rock not only side to side, we're going to rock front to back. So we're going to rock till we reach a seated position. So tucking your hands underneath your knees, we'll just kind of rock and roll until we get to a seated position. And once we're in the seated position, you can cross over your legs and come into tabletop pose. Your hands are right below your shoulders, knees are right below your hips. Your fingers are splayed nice and wide apart, balancing yourself, even distribution of weight. And with our eyes focused on the mat, looking straight down, we're going to then send our nose to the right. Send our eyes along with it. And then back to center, gaze straight down. And then sending our nose over to the left. And then back to center. And over to the right. And then back to center. And over to the left. Back to center. One last time over to the right. Back to center. And over to the left. and back to center. Then we'll go into cat cow. So just check your alignment again. You're pushing down in your hands, that even distribution of weight, balancing that weight in your hands. Navel's tucked to the spine. Then we're going to round our back on the exhale. And then lifting our head and tail, sending our gaze straight ahead for cow. And then rounding our back, sending our head and tail down for cat. Then inhale, lifting our head and tailbone up. And then rounding the back again, back to cat. Lifting the head and tailbone for cow. Deep inhales and deep exhales as we go. Just keep going for a little bit more, synchronizing that deep breaths, inhales and exhales with the movements, nice slow movements. And then we'll come back to tabletop. And we're going to do a variation of bird dog. And this one, we're just going to keep our knees where they are. So they're right below the hips. We're not bringing our knees together in this one. And we're going to keep both hands on the mat. So extend the right toes all the way back. And then lift the leg up. And when you lift the leg up, try to focus on keeping that even distribution of weight in the hands. I know it's going to be tricky because you're going to want to lean to the left. But try to keep just having your hip bones parallel to the mat, keeping as straight as possible. And then we'll lower that leg back down, again keeping them both hip width apart. And we'll do that on the other side. So lifting the left leg up, even distribution of weight in the hands. So the leg is up and straight back. Hip bones are parallel to the mat. And then we'll bring that leg down. We'll do that just slightly for a short time again on each side. So lifting the right leg up and trying to get that nice distribution of weight in the hands. And then back down. And then lifting the left leg up. And then back down. And then we'll send our hips to our ankles, extending our arms forward for extended child pose. Sliding down, really stretching everything out. Reaching your fingertips forward. And then we'll come back up to tabletop. Tuck the toes under. Walk your hands back toward your heels. And coming into a squat position. Balancing on the balls of your feet. And we'll push down and lift up to mountain pose. And we'll bring our big toes so they're in line with the straight edge of the mat. Lifting the toes up off the mat and getting ourselves out of the mud. And then putting them down, just envisioning that mud squishing between the toes and lifting up on your heels. And then coming back down. You're grounded, but during this season, you have to be careful about getting too mired down in being grounded. So, mountain pose, nice strong legs. They're nice and straight with a gentle flex in the knees. Navel's tucked to the spine. Spine is nice and straight and long, including the back of the neck. Navel's tucked to the spine again. And then shoulders are relaxed and rolled back. Crown of the head reaches up toward the sky. We'll sweep our hands up overhead. And then exhale, bringing our hands all the way down the mat, bending our knees as we go, supporting our lower back. And then bringing our hands to our shins. And once they reach the shins, let's keep sliding them all the way up so that the hands are resting at the tops of the thighs. Your elbows are kind of in a chicken position, and your back is nice and straight and long. Gaze is straight down. And then we'll slide our hands all the way down to the mat, dropping our crown of our head toward the mat. And then sweeping our hands all the way up overhead. And as we bring them up overhead, we're going to come up onto our tippy toes. And then we're going to reach higher and higher and higher up toward the sky. And then slowly bringing our hands back down, bringing our heels back down. We'll bring our hands all the way down to the mat, bending our knees. And then we'll bring our hands to our shins again. And then sliding them back all the way up to the tops of the thighs. Nice straight back. And back of the neck's nice and long. Then we'll slide our hands all the way back down to the mat and let them just kind of dangle here for a moment. Let gravity take over. And then sweeping our hands all the way up again. We'll bring our hands overhead. Palms come together. Then we're going to take our right hand and wrap it around our left wrist and send our left hand over to the side, creating a nice arc. And then back up again. Palms come back together. And then taking the right hand, wrapping it around, left hand, wrapping around the right wrist. We'll guide the right hand over to the side. And then back up again. And switch hands. Right hand on left wrist. Left fingertips go to the side. And then back up again. Switching hands. Left hand wraps around the right wrist. Just guiding those right fingertips over to the side. And then back up again. We'll release our hands and send them back down to the mat, bending our knees as we go. Then inhale, bringing the hands to the shins. And then again, sliding them all the way up to the top. Nice flat back. And then sliding them all the way back down, sending the crown of our head down toward the mat. And sweeping our hands all the way up overhead again. And palms come together. And palms come to heart center. And keeping your feet just a little closer in than hip width. We're going to do some leg lifts. And if you want to keep your hands in Anjali Mudra, I think that helps to balance. So first, let's just lift our right leg as if we're sitting in a chair. Legs at a 90-degree angle. And then we're just going to do some kicks with our feet. Kind of fling our foot forward. Just do this for, I don't know, maybe 10. We'll do 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then we'll bring that leg over to the side, pointing the knee to the right side, and then bringing it down. And we'll take another deep inhale, sweeping our hands up overhead. Big inhale. Palms come together. Palms come back to heart center. We'll do that on the other side. So lifting the left leg. And then just doing a few kicks. Flinging our foot forward. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then bringing the knee over to the side. And then down. Well done. Sweeping our hands up and over again. Big inhale. And then exhale, bringing the hands all the way down to the mat. Inhale, bringing our hands to our shins. And then sliding them all the way up to the top of the thighs. Really stretching out that spine. And then sliding the hands down. Crown of your head goes down toward the mat. And then sweeping the hands all the way up again. Hands come up overhead. Palms come together. Palms come to the heart center. And then palms come to the back of the hips for supported back bend. Palms of your hands are on your hips, fingertips pointing down. Shoulders are relaxed and rolled back. Chin is tucked toward the chest. Then we'll just drop our shoulders back to the point where you can just keep that nice, even flow of your breath going. And then we'll come straight up again into mountain pose. We'll easy along here. Okay. We'll sweep our hands up and over again. Big inhale. And then exhale, bringing our hands all the way down. Fingertips touching the mat. And then hands come to the shins for half forward fold. Nice flat back. And then both hands come down and are planted on the mat. We'll send both feet back, coming into plank pose. So your shoulders are right above your wrists. Navel's tucked to the spine. Heels are pushing back. Then we'll lift the right leg up and then bring it back down. And you can keep your toes flexed. You don't have to point them. So lift it up again and back down and up again and back down. And then we'll lower down to the mat, either knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. Keeping the hands right under the shoulders. We're going to lift the chin and chest up, just gently for baby cobra. And then bring it down. The chin lands on the mat. And then we'll lift chin, chest up, gently pushing into the hands, coming into cobra. And you can come to tabletop or tuck your toes under and come into downward dog. So tabletop to downward dog or cobra to downward dog. And we'll pedal out here for a little bit. Fingers, again, nice wide, gripping the mat. Index finger pointing to the top of the mat. Arms are straight. Chest is reaching toward our thighs. And then we'll bring the right knee to the right elbow, pushing off of the left foot. And then back to downward dog and pedal out. Right knee comes to the right elbow again. And then back to downward dog. Pedal out. And this next time, we're going to bring the right foot up between the hands, coming into runner's lunge. So bend the knee, send the foot forward, into runner's lunge. Take a moment to adjust. And then sending your left hand down to the mat. We're going to sweep the right hand up to the sky, following it with your eyes. And then bringing that right hand back down. And then we're going to come into a high lunge. So you can either come straight up or you want to come to your knee first, get stabilized. And then from there, send your arms up to the sky. And I find it stabilizes me a little bit better if instead of staying on the tippy toes, kind of lowering my heel toward the mat, it just feels a little bit more stable. And then we're going to sweep our hands down and around to the back, not moving from our lunge position at all. We're just going to stay in our lunge. And then sweeping our hands all the way back up again. And then a down and back, staying in our lunge position. And then sweeping back up again. And one last time, down and back. And then sweeping back up again. And then bring both hands down to the mat. Coming back to runner's lunge. And then sending the right foot back. Coming back to plank pose. And again, knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. Coming down to the mat. And we're going to send our arms alongside, resting on our chin. So arms are alongside and palms facing up. And we'll lift the right leg up and send it back down. And lift the left leg up and send it back down. And then lift both hands and legs up as if you're soaring through the sky. And then back down. We'll bring our hands back to underneath the shoulders, elbows tucked to the side. We'll lift our chin and chest up slightly, and then bring them back down. And then lift the chin and chest up, pressing down into the hands, coming into cobra. And then keep pushing to tabletop, and then bringing your hips down to your ankles for extended child pose. And then back to tabletop. Tucking our toes under, we'll come back to downward dog and pedal out here just for a moment or so. Just kind of walk lightly through the soil, the water, the mud, the snow. We'll soon be on firm, dry ground. And then we'll just walk our feet slowly up to our hands, coming into a forward fold. And then sweeping our hands all the way up overhead. Big inhale. Palms come together. And then palms come to heart center. And we're going to start with a tree pose. And then we're going to go into, from there, straight into warrior 3 with our arms back, so it'll be very bird-like. So lift your right leg up, and then you can do the tree pose as you wish, either ankle to heel, or foot on the calf, or foot all the way up to the thigh. And then we'll release, keeping the leg up, and then sending the leg back, sending our arms back, coming into a soaring bird. And then release. And we'll do that all on the other side. So inhale, sweeping our hands all the way up. And then exhale, bringing our fingertips to the mat, bending your knees. And then hands come to our shins, nice flat back. And then the hands come down to the mat, planting them on the mat. We send both feet back, coming into plank pose. And wrists are right below your shoulders. And then we'll just lift the left leg up and set it down. Lift the left leg up, trying to stay straight, not tipping over to the side, and coming back down. And one last time, leg goes up and comes back down. And then we'll lower to the mat, either knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. And then we'll do a baby cobra, just lifting our chin and chest up, and then lowering back down to the mat. And then we'll lift the chin and chest up, pushing into cobra. And you can come to tabletop, or tuck your toes under and directly go to downward dog. And we'll walk the dog out for a little bit. And then bring the left knee to the left elbow, pushing off of the right toes. And then back again for downward dog and pedal out. And then left knee again to the left elbow. And then back to downward dog and pedal out. And then the left foot's going to come between our hands for runner's lunge. So bending our knee, sending our left foot forward, maybe with some assistance. And we're in runner's lunge. The right hand comes down to the mat. Left hand sweeps up to the sky. And then the left hand comes back down to the mat. And again, we're going to come into high lunge. You do it straight up or come to the knee first and get stabilized. And then come up to high lunge. And then again, sending the heel closer down to the mat might give you a little bit more stability. And then sweeping our hands down and back. And then sweeping them back up. And then down and back again. Nice, slow, gentle movements. And then back up again. And one last time. Down and back. And then back up again. And the hands come down to the mat. We'll send the left foot back. Join the right foot, coming back to plank pose and lowering down knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. And sending our arms along the side of us. Keeping our chin just gently placed on the mat. And then lift the right leg up and set it down. Lift the left leg up and set it down. And then let's come into our soaring bird. So lifting both hands and legs up into the air and then coming back down. Bringing our hands underneath our shoulders. We'll lift the chin and chest up a little bit. And then set it back down again. And then lift the chin and chest, pushing down and the hands coming into cobra. And then to tabletop, and then to child's pose. And then back to tabletop. We'll tuck our toes under, come up, lift our hips up to downward dog, and pedal out here for a moment. And then very slowly we'll walk through the mud and the snow up to our hands. Come into a forward fold. And then sweep our hands all the way up overhead. Palms come together. Palms come down to heart center. And again, we'll come into tree pose and then going into our soaring bird. So lifting the left leg up and then placing it any spot that works for you for tree pose. And then releasing, keeping the leg in the air, airborne. And then we'll send that leg, left leg back, sending our arms back, coming into warrior three variation, soaring bird, migrating north. And then we'll release and bring our pinky toes to the edges of the mat. Heels are tucked in. Then we'll come down into our wide-legged squat. Slowly lowering down, bringing our torso between our legs, elbows against the knees, hands coming down toward the mat. And then we'll bring our sit bones down to the mat, come into staff pose, and create that nice straight L shape, toes flexed up. And then we'll bring the right foot, cross it over the left, bringing the right foot down to the mat right beside the left knee. We'll wrap our left arm around our right knee, sending our fingertips to the back and sending our gaze over our right shoulder. And then come back to center, and we'll switch sides, back to staff pose, and then bringing our left foot to the outside of our right knee, wrapping our right arm around our left knee, sending our left fingertips behind us, sending our gaze over our left shoulder. And then come back to center, and we'll roll down. I'm going to use express, kind of tucking my hands underneath my knees and just rolling back. And knees to chest, give yourself a nice hug, and do some rock and rolling. Maybe make some nice big circles with your toes for the full moon coming up. And reversing the direction when you're ready. And then we'll take our arms and bring them out at shoulder height to a T position. And lower our knees to the right side. And when they land, you send your gaze over to your left fingertips. And bringing your gaze back so that you're staring up to the sky. And then lifting your knees up. And then lowering your knees to the left side. And when they land, you can slowly turn your head to look at your right fingertips. Then rolling your head back so you're gazing up to the sky. Lifting your legs back up to center. And sliding your feet down to the bottom of the mat and out to each corner. Guiding your arms towards your side with the palms facing up. Then taking some inhales and the biggest sighs, releasing exhale that you can do. Just let your body melt into the mat. You're like you're dropping back into a cloud and let the clouds support you. Today's poem I have for you is a little early. It's called March 1st. It's the first day of spring, a meteorological proclamation, a fling. Proof enough for me. Look, there's a robin in the tree. Pecking at frozen apples, does she know? The in like a lion is coming with snow. So, dear robin, hold onto your branch firm while you seek out your icy worm. Ready or not, we'll spring our clocks ahead and we'll take that leap of faith like the birds migrating to our forest stand, that by month's end, spring will truly land.